My patient is a Master Asif Mohammed, 13-year-old male studying ninth standard, who is a resident of Chennai. Informant of the history's mother, who is reliable. He presented with breathlessness on exertion for the past 7 months. My history dates back to the time since the child was 1.5 months old. He was born, first child born out of non-consanguineous marriage, full term C-section done, uneventful perinatal period. Baby had a birth weight of 2.6 kg and cried normally at birth. When baby was 40 days old, after the immunization, he developed fever and upper respiratory tract infection, for which they have seen a doctor. And that time he was diagnosed to have some heart problem and was advised to see a cardiologist. Around 2 months of age, mother has noticed bluish discoloration of skin and mucous membrane, which was uniform in all the limbs during excessive crying, associated with mild breathing difficulty, increased rate of breathing, and the child was lethargic. So she rushed to the emergency of the close by hospital for the same. And they have treated the baby with the oxygen and some IV medication, following which he improved. This episode was not associated with any limpness, convulsions, or loss of consciousness. There was no history of recurrent respiratory tract infection, increased forehead sweating, succus cycle, or failure to thrive. So during that admission, they have seen the cardiologist and was told that he is prone, such episodes are prone to occur, and advised to hold the baby close to the chest, and also was started on Inderon. They were also told that baby needs surgery once he gains adequate weight. Mother gives such cyanotic episodes history following that also, which she subsided with after starting this medication. At 1.5 year of age, that was in the year 2008, the boy has underwent intracardiac repair. His hospital stay was prolonged in view of some fever and respiratory tract infection, following which he recovered and then he was discharged. There were no further episodes post fever. There was no growth and developmental delay after the surgery. Patient has remained asymptomatic till 2018, that is nearly 9 years after the surgery, and was lost to follow up. Uh, the boy says he usually cycles to school. In Jan 2018, he started to notice mild breathlessness on cycling for the same distance, which used to subside on slowing down the pace or stopping. That was like a NIHA class 2 breathlessness. Mother also gives history that around the same time she has noticed that his activity was mildly restricted compared to his usual playing and all that. There was no history of orthopnea, PND. There was no history of associated wheeze or cough. There's no history of associated chest discomfort, palpitation, giddiness, syncope, or easy fatigability. There's no history of abdominal distension, pedal edema, or decreased urine output. Or there's no history of prolonged fever, weight loss, or decreased appetite during that episode. They have seen a cardiologist then, and he underwent procedure through the right groin, which was in November 2018. That is after nearly 11 months of presentation after breathlessness, after which he improved symptomatically. He has not been on any medication since then. And now in August 2019, that is 7 months ago, he started to develop a similar episode of breathlessness, which was exactly like the last episode. So he has seen the doctor and he's advised that it's the recurrence of same problem and he needs treatment, for which he has been presently admitted for the same procedure. History, what is it? He's a first child born out of non-consanguineous marriage, full-term
Okay.
cesarean section. And then there's
Are you able to hear me? Oh,
yes, yes, ma'am.
okay. So now you're going to summarize the history, or shall we start some discussion?
Summarize the history, ma'am. I'll just
No,
give
no, I
summary.
got your history.
Okay.
Okay, first we have to see what was it before the surgery, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you first analyze that.
Okay. Okay. So this is a case of cyanotic congenital heart disease with decreased pulmonary blood flow symptoms, who has underwent intracardiac repair at the age of 1.5 year, followed by NIHA class 2 dyspnea after 9 years of surgery. Underwent procedure through right groin subsequently 9 years later, where he improved symptomatically following that, and now admitted for similar complaints for the past 7 months. So most probably,
What is the history, Radha?
ma'am.
Now from 7 months, what is the history?
7 months he has breathlessness on exertion, ma'am. Mild breathlessness. NIHA class 2 breathlessness.
Right.
There's no orthopnea, no PND, no other symptoms.
Okay.
So, ma'am, from the history, I think most probably he has undergone surgery for tetralogy of phallophysiology.
Why do you think it is cyanotic heart disease with decreased pulmonary blood flow?
Because, ma'am, the mother has noticed cyanosis at the age of 1.5 to 2 months initially, and then it was
Okay.
associated with there is a history of cyanotic spell, ma'am. There she clearly gives history that it was associated with increased rate of breathing. There was breathing difficulty and lethargy for which she had to rush to the
That was
ER.
the cyanotic spell.
Spell. And also she gives that eventually when he had such cyanotic episodes, it's like a squatting.
This is after 2 months. Bluish discoloration is said after 2 months.
2 months of age, ma'am. Yes.
No, why? Why not on day 1? What are the causes for cyanosis on day 1?
And cyanosis at birth, usually one is TGA can cause cyanosis at birth. And then tricuspid atresia, pulmonary atresia, hypoplastic left heart syndrome, then TAPVC abstains but very mild cyanosis, ma'am.
Which one? Yeah.
Abstains.
TAPVC, you said?
TAPVC and abstains also can have mild cyanosis at birth.
Yeah, why do TAPVC develop cyanosis on day 1? Which TAPVC can develop symptoms on day 1?
PVC, ma'am. This thing, congestive cardiac failure, severe obstruction.
Are you able to hear me?
No.
Your voice is not coming much. Hello?
I'm audible now, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, which TAPVC presents on day 1 and why? You said TAPVC, right? You know the types of TAPVC?
Yes, ma'am. Supracardiac, cardiac, and infracardiac.
Okay, which is likely to present on day 1?
TAPVC.
Which one? I'm not able to hear you. I think there's some voice break.
TAPVC with obstruction, ma'am.
Okay, infracardiac with obstruction. Correct. How do they present?
Pulmonary venous hypertension.
Yeah, they present with pulmonary
failure.
Generally, yes. Okay. TAPVC generally don't develop cyanosis on day 1 unless they develop pulmonary edema picture. Okay. So, why do they develop cyanosis after 2 months in tetralogy? Usual history is at 2 to 3 months. Why?
Because what happens is usually there will be progressive RVOT obstruction as the child grows, and also that is one thing. And second, the thing is they outgrow the cyanosis. There will be more demand. That is one thing, and also decrease in fetal hemoglobin, ma'am.
No, their activity increases. That is
activity increases.
Demand increases. Correct. Okay. What is staff anatomy?
Anterior and cranial anterior and cephalad deviation of infundibular septum. There's a non-restrictive VSD. Then overriding of aorta and right ventricular hypertrophy.
What type of VSD?
The non-restrictive VSD.
No, non-restrictive. Muscular VSD should be specific, no?
RVOT obstruction in the form of infundibular stenosis and right ventricular hypertrophy.
Is only RVOT obstruction infundibulum? Can there be anything else also?
Infundibular or valvar stenosis, ma'am. It can be anything. Most likely is a bicuspid valve with valvar stenosis.
Yeah, in addition to infundibular stenosis, there can be valve or supravalvular. Okay, why there is RVH?
Secondary to one is secondary to valvular stenosis, and the thing is here right ventricle is exposed to systemic pressures because of the non-restrictive VSD.
Yeah,
So-
RV pressure is systemic. So, what is the RV pressure at birth?
Ma'am.
What is the RV pressure at birth?
Systemic pressures, ma'am.
Yeah, so normally RV regresses once the RV pressure comes down. So here the RV pressure is systemic. So the same RVH continues. It is not because of the RVOT obstruction. It is because of the non-restrictive EST resulting in equisystemic RV pressure.
Yes.
So the fetal RV continues. Okay. So the usual question is, what is TOF physiology?
Includes even other conditions. That is cyanotic conjunctivitis.
Since you have to, what is TOF? First you say what is TOF physiology, then what are the conditions which come under that? That's the usual. You see, in a cyanotic heart disease, any case, so these are the usual discussions. What is TOF physiology and what are the conditions which come under this?
Basically, there's a large malign non-restrictive VSD with RVOT obstruction.
Yeah, that is anatomy. That's correct. The large non-restrictive VST. Here we don't call it as a malalignment. Any VST, large VST, non-restrictive VST where RV and LV pressures are equal.
Equal.
Okay. Second is pulmonary stenosis. You may not be able to say RVOT obstruction because sometimes pulmonary artery arises from the LV. So it is better to say pulmonary stenosis, either infundibular, valvar, or supravalvular. Usually it is infundibular or valvar. Okay. So now the pressures in the RV and LV are equal, right? So when they contract like a single chamber. So the pressures are equal. So where the blood goes depends on two factors. One is severity of fluid obstruction. Second is systemic vascular resistance. Yeah. Okay. So whenever systemic vascular resistance is low, more blood goes towards aorta.
So cyanosis will be relatively milder.
No. When systemic vascular resistance is low, right to left shunt increases. So you have more cyanosis. When systemic vascular resistance is high, then
the pulmonary RVOT.
Pulmonary blood flow increases. So that is what is TOF physiology. So where all you get this condition? This physiology rather.
One is a classic tetralogy of Fallot. And then if there is a double outlet right ventricle VSDPS, then
you should be specific. Double outlet right ventricle can have subaortic VSD or subpulmonic VSD. Which VSD?
This is subaortic VSD, ma'am. Double outlet right ventricle, subaortic VSD with pulmonary stenosis.
How is this different from TOF?
Aorta, there is more than 50% overriding into the right ventricle.
Correct. Then one more. There is subaortic conus.
Subaortic conus.
So what is lost in this? Aortic mitral?
Continuity.
Continuity is lost. Continuity between the aortic leaflet and anterior mitral leaflet is lost. So because there is a subvalvular conus. Okay, then.
Ma'am, what is this? Single ventricle VSDPS, ma'am. Single ventricle PS.
VSD is already there now. Single ventricle.
Single ventricle PS.
VSD. Yeah. Then Quickly, this some 6 things it should come. Huh?
Yeah. TGA VSDPS, ma'am.
Correct.
That
Same.
VSD
C. Character transposition.
CCTGA VSDPS.
Correct. Then 2 more. They are not really like
One is AVSDPS, ma'am.
AV canal defect with PS.
And a trilogy of Tricuspid Atresia PS.
With VSD PS.
Yes. Mm.
Okay. So you mentioned something about trilogy. What is the trilogy? Hello? It is not considered as TOF physiology. There is no VSD, right?
There's no VSD. It's not TOF.
What is trilogy?
ASD with yes, ma'am, I can hear you. ASD with pulmonary stenosis with RVH.
No. Here, most important is severe pulmonary stenosis. Mandibular or valvular pulmonary stenosis. So, right ventricular hypertrophy here, it is because of RVOT obstruction. Okay. Then what happens? There is increase in the RV and diastolic pressure. So that will elevate the right atrial pressure. So this results in either opening of foramen ovale, or if there is a ASD, there will be right to left shunted atrial level. Here it is not a large ASD with mild PS, which you classically see in ASD. Here it is severe PS, RVH, right to left shunted atrial level because of increased right atrial pressure. Okay, that is triology. Okay, fine. So, how do you decide that it is decreased pulmonary blood flow? What differentiates?
Because,
what are the features? No?
Blood flow, ma'am. Ma'am, there's history of cyanotic spells and there's a history of squatting equivalence.
Yeah, one, they will have symptoms, more symptoms of hypoxia. They will not have heart failure symptoms. They will not have recurrent respiratory infection. They will have more of hypoxic symptoms. And once they grow, they have what you said, squatting, exertional dyspnea, fatigue.
And symptoms secondary to polycythemia, they'll present with those symptoms.
Okay. Now, what is the natural history of TOF? TOF is discussed every day, I think. So you should know everything about TOF.
Basically, usually cyanosis develops at the age of 2 to 3 months as the child activity increases and the fetal hemoglobin.
Yeah.
Cyanosis, ma'am, usually develops at the age of 2 to 3 months.
If you don't treat, what happens to them?
Treat eventually, progressively, the RVOT obstruction will increase, and secondary to cyanosis, patients will develop various complications. Secondary to polycythemia, they'll have clubbing. They can present with cortical sinus thrombosis. There can be cerebral abscess or various hematological.
Common. What age group? See, when do you get cyanotic spell? What is the common age for cyanotic spell?
2 years of age, ma'am.
Yeah, 2 months to 6 months. It may go until 2 years.
2 years of age.
Why does it come down after 2 years? Hello? Hello?
Hear you, ma'am.
But I am not able to hear you. Are you talking or you are silent?
Radha, your network needs to be strong. Just come to some area where network is good.
Am I audible, Nikhil?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yours is audible.
It's clear, no?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Only Radha's like
initial part it disappears.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah,
I won't know whether she's silent or.
Yeah, ma'am. Radha, are you there?
Yeah. Is it better now?
Yeah.
Can you describe a cyanotic spell before we go to the other complications? So usually you ask all these things, cyanotic spell, mechanisms, how do you manage?
Ma'am, usually the child, due to excessive crying or after waking up, there will be episode of hyperapnea followed by what is this? Bluish discoloration of skin and mucous membrane associated with hyperapnea. Then the child can become lethargic associated with either limpness, convulsions, or even loss of consciousness.
And it may be fatal also.
Can be fatal.
Okay. So what are the mechanisms?
Ma'am, mechanisms, there are various theories, ma'am. So this thing, what is it? The first theory, Paul Wood theory, usually stated that it is because of RBOT obstruction. But later, Young's theory usually says basically when the child awakens from a sleep or during crying, there is increased sympathetic activity. Because of increased sympathetic activity, there is increase in heart rate and there is increase in venous return. So this venous return results in hypoxemia, as a result of which there is decrease in pH resulting in acidosis, and this further stimulates the respiratory center resulting in increased hyperventilation resulting in increased CO2, and this is basically a vicious cycle which goes around resulting in further progression of the cycle. And there is Kotaris theory which says there's RV mechanoreceptors also have a role in promoting this cyanotic spells.
Any other factors? Anything about respiratory center? Supposed to be immature, no? Respiratory center is hyper responsive to hypoxia, especially when the child gets up from sleep. His respiratory center is hyper responsive. So when there is hypoxia, it stimulates the respiratory center, and as you said, the vicious cycle continues. What else can contribute? What happens to the systemic vascular resistance?
Fall in systemic vascular resistance.
Fall in systemic vascular resistance, right to left shunt increases. So usually after a hot bath or during fever, child can have fall in systemic vascular resistance. So that can cause increased right to left shunt. And even arrhythmias are described as a mechanism. Tachycardia.
Atrial pacing and tachycardia. Even that can.
So quickly, can you tell how you manage?
Yes, ma'am. First step is to put the cyanotic spell. You can keep the child in Nietzsche's position or any squatting equivalent position, and then oxygen at 2 to 4 liters per minute, and then we can give morphine 0.1 to 0.2 mg per kg, or propranolol can be given around 0.1 mg per kg IV followed by 6-hourly doses.
If it is available only, you should tell. I don't think now it's available. No? IV propranolol is...
No, we usually give esmolol here, ma'am.
Okay. So whatever is practiced, and don't ever tell amyl nitrate because it's not available.
No. Okay. And
then
soda bicarb around 2 to 3 milliequivalent per kg to correct the acidosis.
Anything? Hydration?
Yeah, hydration, and then anemia needs to be corrected if anything, and correction of hypoglycemia.
Okay. So is sometimes if they don't respond, what is
if they don't respond,
you have to put them on ventilator and plan for a
emergency shunt surgery.
Entrances can be, any as a cardiologist, can you do something?
RVOT stenting.
Then
pulmonary valvotomy or ductal
not
stenting.
Duct stenting or RVOT stenting. Okay. Anyway, so beyond 2 years, what happens? Why do they stop developing cyanotic spells? One is
there's this thing growth
of the center. Second, they know how to abort it. No, they squat and they efficiently
squat. Abort the episode.
Abort these episodes. Okay. Now you go ahead. You're discussing something. Other complications. Usually, when do they develop these cerebral abscess?
Ma'am, cerebral
In
abscess
a-
usually after 2 years of age, ma'am. Usually when the child starts to masticate and all, because there should be some source of infection, bacterial source or something.
Yeah,
Usually after
sometimes
2 years.
ask what is in the chronological order you tell the complications. So it will be
Okay.
first cyanotic spell, then CNS complications,
Hmm.
later polycythemia related.
Come.
Yeah.
Shall I continue with examination, ma'am?
No, you're not. Hold
This
up.
thing.
Okay, this child underwent surgery at 1.5 years, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What surgery they would have done? Do you think it's intracardiac repair or a palliative surgery?
No, it was an intracardiac repair, ma'am.
Or usually, what age they do ideally?
Usually around what is it? Around 12 to 18 months of age, ma'am. 12 months of age.
What is the recommendation?
6 to
After
12 months. 6 to 12 months, ma'am.
yeah, after 3 months, before 12 months usually.
12 months.
Why? Okay. So in which patients you cannot do this total correction, intracardiac repair, where you have to do two-stage surgery. In what situations of TAW you cannot do
Ma'am,
total
one is
correction?
if it is single ventricle PS, ma'am, so you have to go through the Fontaines.
Come to the TAW only now.
Okay. Coming to the
If
top.
itself, then
Ma'am,
you
if
go to
at
other.
all, oh, in which condition?
And
Even
which you can-
classical talk, ma'am.
Huh?
In classical tetralogy of Fallot.
What's the most important determinant of total correction, whether you can do or not?
If at all there is any, what is it, pulmonary artery stenosis or hypoplastic.
Size of the pulmonary artery. Pulmonary stenosis is already small pulmonary arteries.
Hypoplastic pulmonaries.
Yeah. So what do you do in that case? What do you?
BT shunt, ma'am.
What is BT shunt?
BT shunt is subclavian artery to pulmonary artery shunt.
What is classical BT shunt and what is modified BT shunt?
In the classical BT shunt, it is basically end-to-end anastomosis is done, end-to-side anastomosis. In case of modified BT shunt, we basically use a Gore-Tex graft, ma'am. It's a side-to-side anastomosis.
What is the disadvantage of classical BT shunt?
I think it can cause thrombosis and the subclavian steel, ma'am. Subclavian steel.
No, they are actually cutting the subclavian artery and anastomose into the pulmonary. So what happens to the blood flow to the limb?
That's what subclavian.
Not steel.
That limb, there won't be any blood supply, ma'am. There will be undergrowth of that limb, short limb.
The limb. Okay. How is it done? We were through which approach? Incision. And which side? It's posterior thoracic.
Ma'am, left or posterior? Posterior
opposite to the arch. Because it is easy to mobilize that subclavian artery. Opposite to the arch. Okay, it's right aortic arch, we'll do on the left side. It is left aortic arch. Normally it is
right side. Hello?
I am hearing you.
Yeah.
Your voice is breaking.
Is it better, ma'am? Now?
Ma'am, classical is done on the opposite side, no? Opposite side.
Yeah, classical is done on the opposite side. Opposite side of the arch.
Yeah. Now, what are the recent central shunts? Nowadays, they're asking they're not doing it seems. So, what are the other shunts?
Ma'am, one is pot shunt. Then we have Watterson Coley shunt, ma'am.
What is pot shunt? What is Watterson shunt? Which is not done anyway. It's all historic.
Pot shunt is what is it? Descending aorta to LPA.
Left.
Watterson is left.
What is
Watson,
what is modified Davidson shunt?
I don't know, ma'am. Davidson.
These are now central shunts, aorta to pulmonary artery, using a Gore-Tex graft.
Correct.
So why those old shunts are not done POTS and Waterston? You don't have control over pulmonary blood flow, so they can develop
CCF. They can
Pulmonary-
develop CCF.
increased pulmonary blood flow, pulmonary vascular disease, distortion of the pulmonary artery.
The arteries.
So modified Davidson is aorta to pulmonary artery, Gore-Tex graft. What is Melbourne shunt?
Don't know.
What is Melbourne? Have you heard?
No, ma'am.
End to side pulmonary artery to ascending aorta.
Yeah, where is it done? Pulmonary atresia. No, these are the shunts nowadays they are asking. What's Sano shunt? Sano. It's RVTPA. Yeah. Okay, where else stage of surgery is done?
Ma'am, if it is in top physiology, ma'am.
Top physiology, most important is pulmonary artery. Any other?
If there is a pulmonary atresia.
Okay. Yeah, pulmonary atresia. The very favorite question of examiner. So, what surgery is done there?
RV2PA conduit. RV2PA conduit is done.
No, before that, see, it depends how the pulmonary arteries are supplied.
Before
If they
that,
have-
we do a BT shunt, and then later, once the pulmonary arteries grow, and then after that, we prepare the pulmonary appropriately, and then.
What is the most important thing in pulmonary atresia? What? Confluence pulmonary arteries. What do you mean by confluence pulmonary arteries?
Unifocalization.
Yeah, confluence pulmonary artery means both pulmonary arteries are connected to each other. Yeah. So even then they may not be supplying the whole lung. So first initially you have to do unifocalization. Anyway. Okay. So where else you do? Apart from top, where else you do stage surgeries?
One is single ventricle PS.
Okay.
That will lead stage, that will go through Fontane's pathway. And
Okay.
then if it is DORV, VSD PS also, if it is the VSD is not routable, if it's more complex.
So whenever it's a single ventricle, okay, then
AVSD PS, if it is unbalanced, ma'am, there is straddling of the AV valve and it's like hypoplastic LV usually.
okay, then tricuspid atresia,
Tricuspid atresia.
hypoplastic left heart.
Yes.
Okay, now you said patient has undergone surgery, right? And you think it was total correction.
Yes.
So now what has happened? Why is he become symptomatic now? Why are you in a hurry to go for examination? You are not finished the analysis of his.
Ma'am, now probably I think maybe there is a residual infundibular or pulmonary stenosis. Probably that is why he has presented now with effort dyspnea. And
so now you should know what all the problems can occur after intracardiac repair. So we say it is total correction. Will they have a normal life? What is the survival rate after top correction? What is the survival rate? 30-year survival rate around 90%. But their effort tolerance may be reduced. So what are all the complications you have to look for? And how often you have to follow them up? So they need lifelong monitoring. Every 1 year you have to do physical examination, go and ECG. Okay, so now you tell me list of complications which can occur. One you said is residual PS.
Residual PS. or
Okay.
usually it can be residual VSD.
Okay.
Then
Which is more
patient
common? PS is more common or VSD is more common?
PS is more common, ma'am.
Correct.
And then patient can develop there will be free PR, which will eventually result in RV failure. But that is a late complication.
Which patients develop PR?
Ma'am, if at all they have done RVOT with annuloplasty, ma'am. Patch.
What is it?
Transannular patch. Transannular patch.
Transannular patch.
Mm.
Yeah. Invariably they will develop PR. Okay, that's a progressive increase in PR. Okay, what else?
And aortic regurgitation.
Due to?
It can be due to prolapse of the cusp, or it can be due to secondary infective endocarditis, or they also have medial abnormality, ma'am, associated medial abnormality. So that
Root
itself can cause aortic regurgitation, root dilatation.
Yeah. They can have aortopathy and okay. Then any other complications?
Aortic complication is related to disease, no, not related to surgery.
Yeah, it's due to inherent medial abnormality.
If they do early surgery, aortic complications are less common. So it's a kind of aortopathy. And if they're operated late, see, aorta is not dilated in top, right? Because more blood goes to aorta. Aorta is dilated. If they do early surgery, the risk of aortic dilatation is less. But they have a pathology like Marfan's. They can have aortopathy. There are some reports of even 4 cases reported aortic dissection. Okay. Anything else?
Ma'am, arrhythmias.
They're prone for arrhythmias. Okay. Then? Sir?
That's all.
Tricuspid regurgitation they can have.
Tricuspid regurgitation and heart failure.
And protein-producing enteropathy?
That is seen in Fontan, post-Fontan surgery.
Fontan.
Yeah. Fontan, because of venous congestion, they develop protein-producing enteropathy. Here it is not a. Here most often it is PR. And sometimes there can be peripheral pulmonary stenosis. Okay. So what will be the ECG finding? Just for a, what is, usually after TOF surgery,
Right bundle branch block will be there.
yeah, so they will have wide QRS and they are prone for arrhythmias and sudden cardiac death. Yeah. Okay. So now what is caused dyspnea? And you said he improved after some procedure. Huh?
Yes, ma'am. 1 year ago, nearly 1.5 years ago, he has underwent a procedure. After that, he improved.
What are all the interventions you can do for a patient with TOF? This is theory question as well as exam question, practical question. What are all the interventions? 2 we already mentioned, RVOT stenting and PDA shunting.
PDA shunting, RVOT shunting. Then balloon pulmonary valvotomy, ma'am.
Okay.
That is something. And if at all, if it is TOF with pulmonary atresia and MAPCAs are there, we can do MAPCA stenting, coiling.
Then, suppose that there is pulmonary atresia, can you do anything?
Pulmonary atresia with collaterals, MAPCA stenting. If MAPCAs are there, if at all there is stenosis of MAPCA, then we can do MAPCA stenting.
Okay.
Residual VSD is there, device closure can be done for that VSD.
Correct. Then?
And, branch PA stenting.
Yeah, branch PA. Then? Can you do anything for the PR?
Pulmonary valve replacement can be done.
Percutaneous
Percutaneous, yeah.
Yeah.
It can be done.
Correct. Then sometimes they do radio frequency perforation of the arteritic pulmonary valve stenting. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, arrhythmias can be
Ablated.
That is for pulmonary atresia with intact ventricular septum, or even in this also that can be done.
Huh?
That is done in pulmonary atresia with intact ventricular septum, or even in this one also it can be done, ma'am.
Yeah, here also. If it is a confluent pulmonary artery, if it is thin,
If it is confluent. Okay.
yeah, they can do it. It's mentioned RF, radio frequency perforation of arteritic pulmonary valve is stenting.
Ma'am, previously you told confluent branch PAs are more common with pulmonary atresia. Something you
No,
told,
no. Pulmonary atresia is classified as confluent pulmonary artery and non-confluent pulmonary arteries.
Okay.
If once there is pulmonary atresia, how lungs are supplied?
Collaterals.
Either through the ductals or through collaterals. If it is through ductals, then they are more likely to have confluent pulmonary arteries. If they are supplied by MAPCAS, then it's more likely that they may not have confluent pulmonary arteries.
Okay,
Anything else? So what was the procedure done, you think, in 2018 which improved his symptoms?
That time probably they would have done this pulmonary valvotomy, ma'am. Balloon pulmonary valvotomy for the residual PS.
Okay.
And now he has presented with again restenosis, probably.
How commonly you would valvular stenosis in top?
1/3 can have.
Yeah, 25% to 1/3 maybe. Yeah. Usually they may have bicuspid aortic valve, bicuspid pulmonary valve. Okay. Okay. Now you can go ahead for with the examination. What is the time limit, Nikhil? 1 hour?
One and a
Ma'am,
half hours.
according
can
to
take.
you, ma'am.
Your ma'am, according to you.
Okay, fine. Okay. Anyway, you go to examination.
The patient is conscious, cooperative, oriented, moderately built and nourished. Height is 162 centimeters. Weight is 48.3 kgs. Upper segment, lower segment ratio is normal. There's no pallor, icterus, cyanosis, clubbing, lymphadenopathy. Skull and spine are normal. There are no skeletal abnormalities or facial dysmorphism.
What dysmorphic features you expect? Hello. 1 second. What dysmorphic features you expect?
Ma'am, usually it's associated with what is it?
What are the syndromic of?
Cleft, any digoid syndrome, ma'am. So if the patient has any cleft lip or cleft palate.
What is it called now? Digoid syndrome?
Cash 22, ma'am.
Okay. What are the other syndromes associated?
Downs.
Correct. There are 32 syndromes described in top, no? You tell trisomy.
13, 18.
Yeah. Poland syndrome.
Goldenhar syndrome.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Then pulse is 80 per minute, regular, normal volume, normal character. There's no radial or radiofemoral delay. All peripheral pulses are felt. Blood pressure is around 126 by 70 mmHg in both the upper limbs and 132 mmHg in the lower limb. Respiratory rate is around 16 per minute, abdominothoracic. Saturation is 97% at Lumer in all the four limbs. JVP, mean JVP is normal with prominent AVs, normal respiratory variation.
This variant is normal or you think it's abnormal? Normally, which way is prominent in JVP?
Ma'am?
Normally, which wave is prominent in JVP?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, here it is the normal A wave or you think it's...
Actually, I could not make out that it's very prominent also, ma'am. It looked normal. I tried to see if it's very prominent or something, but then it's not like a standing out or anything. It just looked normal.
Okay.
Because I was expecting it to be prominent or something, but it's not that prominent.
Okay.
And coming to cardiovascular examination or inspection and palpation together, trachea is centrally in position, chest appears bilaterally symmetrical. There's a median sternotomy. There are no other scars or dilated veins. Apex peat is felt in the left.
Scars, you know, what are the, usually you say no scar, no. What are the scars you look for?
Mainly any surgical scars, ma'am.
Okay, what are the 3 scars you usually look for? One is mid sternotomy, then
One is sternotomy. Then if there's any left or right thoracotomy scar, ma'am.
what is that? Left or right?
Ma'am, if usually for this thing, if at all it is, if any coact repair was done or any this thing.
Where is the
PD,
usually
PD.
the coarctation, PDA, and your deletion? They are posterolateral thoracotomy. Posterolateral thoracotomy. You have to see the back.
Okay, ma'am.
Then one more in malar heart disease, though that surgery is not done, but still you see those patients.
Malar heart disease, this thing.
Anterolateral
Commissurotomy.
Yeah, anterolateral
Commissurotomy.
closed mitral valve. Nowadays they are doing a lot of surgeries with mini thoracotomy, inframammary, right side.
Right.
You should look for those things. Okay.
Then apex impulse is felt in left sixth intercostal space, just lateral to midclavicular line, which is diffuse, sustained with lateral retraction, RV type of impulse.
One second. Sixth left intercostal space?
Yes, ma'am, around fifth or sixth. Actually, probably because of post intracardiac repair, his ribs are like little in abnormal position, ma'am. The counting. So it looked like fifth or sixth.
Fifth or sixth and lateral to midclavicular,
On nearly on or just lateral to midclavicular. There's not much variation.
Okay.
And it is diffuse with lateral retraction.
So you think it's RV? Is it?
RV impulse, yes, ma'am. RV type of impulse.
When do you think it's RV type?
Ma'am, because the impulse is diffuse and there's lateral retraction.
What else is important?
Associated parasternal heave.
Yeah, there should be parasternal heave or pulsation, which continues. Whole thing is RV.
Correct. Together, yeah. So
and once you say RV type, you don't have to say whether it is heaving or some people have the habit of saying that heaving. Those things are applicable only for a
LV
apical impulse. Once you decide that it is RV apical impulse, there is no need to tell those things. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Then there's grade 3 parasternal heave at the left lower sternal border. Epigastric pulsations are present. There's a systolic thrill at left second and third intercostal space, radiating. Yes, ma'am.
1 second. What do you mean by parasternal heave and parasternal pulsations? Do you have any difference or both are same?
Parasternal heave corresponds to RV. Parasternal pulsation, like if at all there is any RVOT dilatation or something, usually pulsations will be there in left third intercostal space parasternal. So probably
left pulsations are used when there is volume over right ventricle. I think Dr. Das sir was discussing, no? Whenever there is volume overload, you get pulsations. Heave means it should occupy more than half of systole. How you differentiate heaving apical impulse from forcible, no? Similarly, you can differentiate whether it is RV, hypertrophy, or volume overload. Volume overload you get classically in which patients?
ASD patients.
ASD? This patient you can expect volume overload. What is that? PR. TR. So PR, ASD. Because volume overload, you get a pulsation.
Pulsations.
Okay. When it's PH or PS, you get right ventricular hypertrophy, right? So that causes heave. That means it should lift your hand for more than half of systole. So you are sure it's heave or it's pulsation?
It's heave, ma'am.
Heave.
Definitely heave. Yeah.
Where else you get left parasternal pulsation without any epigastric pulsation?
LA pulsations, late systolic.
Yeah. Where? Which patients?
Mitral regurgitation.
Yeah, it should be specific. Severe mitral regurgitation.
Regurgitation.
Yeah, it is so.
Late systolic pulsation.
Severe late systolic
Sim-
left atrial pulsation.
Systolic pulsation.
Okay. So you're talking something about RVOT pulsations. That will be felt in left third intercostal space.
The space. Mm-hmm.
In which continuation arteries you get these pulsations?
Epstein's.
One is Epstein's, second.
And single ventricle inverted chamber also we can have third intercostal space. Outpouching chamber pulsation.
Any variant of TOF we get? TOF with absent pulmonary. TOF with absent pulmonary. Okay.
Should I continue, ma'am?
Any acquired arteries? So these are the usual question. RVOT. EM. Okay. Any pulsation in the left second space?
No pulsation, ma'am. There's only systolic thrill. Systolic thrill is present at the left second third intercostal space, which is radiating to both the intraclavicular areas.
Okay. What are the causes for left second space pulsations?
Dilated pulmonary artery.
It could be pulmonary or aortic. Pulmonary pulsations are whenever the flow is increased or pressure is increased, you get pulsations. So in which condition flow is increased? Shunt lesions. Classically large AST.
Large AST.
The pressure is increased. PH.
Pulmonary artery hypertension.
So these are the two conditions where you classically get pulmonary artery pulsation. One is shunt lesion, classically large AST. Second is pulmonary hypertension. Where else you get pulmonary artery dilatation? Both conditions, pulmonary artery is dilated. There are three more conditions.
Idiopathic pulmonary artery
dilatation. Yes, you may or may not get pulsation. What are the other two causes for pulmonary artery dilatation where you don't get pulsations?
PS. Posterior dilation.
Because it's a low pressure pulmonary artery, you don't feel the pulsation. The one more?
TOF absent pulmonary wall.
Correct. Yeah, there you get aneurysmal dilatation of the pulmonary artery. There you don't get pulsations. Okay. Fine. Go ahead.
There is no palpable S2 or no palpable clicks. On percussion, left heart border corresponds to apex. Right heart border is 2 centimeters to the right of sternal border. Right sternum.
What does it indicate?
It indicates there's a right atrial enlargement, ma'am. Then liver dullness is present on the right hypochondrium, and then tympanic note is felt on the left side. Left second intercostal space is resonant. Then on auscultation, first heart sound is normal. Second heart sound is single, heard at the apex, and probably it's A2. There's a loud, harsh, grade 4/6 ejection systolic murmur.
How did you decide this? A2 is not heard in the other areas. You said only apex.
Ma'am, because this thing, what is it, in the normal aortic area, it's masked by the murmur, ma'am. I could not make out the sound, so I tried to auscultate it little away from the thing. So it's heard. I could hear it only at the apex. In the aortic area, it's a long murmur, so it's masked by the murmur.
Mm-hmm.
So at the left second intercostal space, there's a loud, harsh ejection systolic murmur, grade 4/6 intensity, late peaking, enveloping the A2, with maximal intensity at left second intercostal space, best heard on inspiration with diaphragm of stethoscope, which is also radiating to bilateral infraclavicular area and to the base of neck. There's also
wait. The murmur is already grade 4. Huh? How did it increase inspiration? Did it become grade 5? Difficult to
better heard. Okay.
Difficult to appreciate when the murmur is already so loud. I don't think you can make out. Okay.
So there's also a soft grade 2 early diastolic murmur, which is heard at left second intercostal space, extending less than 50% of diastole, best heard with bell or stethoscope and on inspiration. There's no ejection
What
plate.
is
There's no
what is
RBS
the
foot.
character of this murmur?
Ma'am,
Low pitched, high pitched. What is the character of this?
ma'am, it's a low pitched murmur, ma'am. It's a low pitched, soft, blowing early diastolic murmur.
Don't call it as blowing when it is low
So
pitched.
that's it.
Blowing is used only when there is high pitched murmur.
Okay. It's a low pitched, soft murmur.
Okay.
There's no RVS4. There's no ejection click and no other murmurs. Respiratory system, normal vesicular breath sounds. Abdomen is soft. There's no organomegaly. On the examination of CNS, there's no focal neurological deficit.
Hmm.
So coming to diagnosis, this is the case of post-intracardiac repair for cyanotic congenital heart disease with decreased pulmonary blood flow, probably tetralogy of physiology, with history of pulmonary balloon valvotomy in 2018. Now with severe valvar and infundibular pulmonary stenosis with mild pulmonary regurgitation in NIHA class 2, sinus rhythm not in failure, and no evidence of infective endocarditis.
How did you decide it is valve?
Ma'am, because I thought the intensity of the murmur is maximal in the second left intercostal space.
What
Third is
defines
both second.
it is detected to be valve?
And ma'am, P2 is actually not heard. It's
P2
nearly
will be
absent,
enough.
P2.
Even infundibular case. But what is more important? Click, no? If there is an ejection click, then you can say it is valve. Unless no click, you said?
No click, ma'am. I do not appreciate any click.
So how did you decide it is severe PS?
Ma'am, because it's probably post-surgery, maybe it's already, and also the patient has undergone valvotomy once. Maybe the valve morphology is already disrupted. That is why click is not present in this patient.
Okay. So how did you decide it's severe PSA?
Because the murmur is late peaking and it's a long duration, even enveloping the A2.
Why not? What are the causes of murmur, systolic murmur in post-op patients?
In post-op, ma'am.
Top repair. What are the causes for systolic murmur?
If there's any residual VSD, that also can cause systolic murmur, and
Can
TR
it be
can cause
residual
systolic murmur. Ma'am?
Can it be residual VSD?
Residual VSD, yes, but then usually the murmur will be lower down, ma'am. Third, fourth intercostal space.
Okay. Any other cause for systolic murmur?
TR. If there's any TR, that can cause systolic murmur.
Can PR cause some murmur?
Ma'am, it's this thing. What is it? It's a low pressure PR, ma'am. It's a free PR in these patients post surgery, but it can cause. It can cause. But it's a diastolic murmur.
Yeah, it can cause an amount of ejection systolic murmur. Increased flow across the
Increased flow.
It can cause, yeah. Okay. So A2 is.
Ma'am? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you get AR? Yeah, we discussed about AR, right? Can it be AR?
Can it be AR? Ma'am, but AR will have typical early diastolic murmur in the left second, third intercostal space. That is not there. And there will be some.
No peripheral signs here, right?
No peripheral. It's normal pulse pressure. Pulse is normal.
Yeah. How do you differentiate high pressure PR from low pressure PR? Another usual question. And High pressure PR. You know high pressure PR. When do you get high pressure PR? And there is no?
Pulmonary artery hypertension.
pH. If the pressure gradient.
What is that murmur called?
Graham-Steele murmur, ma'am.
Graham-Steele murmur.
So how do you differentiate that from this?
Ma'am, that will immediately after S2 that murmur will start, ma'am. Graham-Steele murmur.
S2 or P2?
P2.
Yeah. Starts with
After
P2.
P2. Starts with P2.
High pitched, decrescendo, long murmur. Sometimes
Long
even
murmur.
diastolic. Here it is low pitched, starts after a
Soft.
gap. Okay. So there is no VST, it's only PS and PR you think, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have ECG and other things?
Yes, ma'am. I have ECG.
Any other questions from others? Others are not.
This parasternal pulsations, if parasternal heave is grade 1 and grade 2, we will call it as pulsations, and if it is grade 3, we have to call it as heave. Is it like that?
Grade 3 and grade 2, there is no controversy, right? Yeah. Grade 3 is not obliterable, grade 2 is obliterable, right? Heave usually they say it should persist for more than half of system.
Only based on duration.
Yeah. Okay. But there is some classification where pulsation are classified as grade 1, right?
Ma'am, can you explain again that Melbourne shunt and other that shunt? What do you explain?
Melbourne shunt.
These are not heard. That's
we are not heard of these. These are asked in the exam actually.
Yeah.
One is modified Davidson shunt. Okay. Modified Davidson is from aorta to pulmonary artery. They use a Gore-Tex graft.
Okay, ma'am.
The Melbourne shunt is, she told actually, pulmonary artery is cut and anastomosed to the aorta.
Okay.
End to side anastomosis of pulmonary artery to the ascending aorta. So this is done in pulmonary atresia. The pulmonary arteries are small. So you anastomose the whole pulmonary artery to the aorta so that the pulmonary arteries grow.
Okay.
Sano shunt is right ventricle to PA. They put a conduit. That's generally done in hypoplastic left heart. You heard of that Norwood procedure.
Yes.
First stage of hypoplastic left heart is Sano. Second is Glenn. Third is completion.
Yes. Yes.
So you all know about classic Glenn and bidirectional Glenn?
Yes, ma'am.
What is that? What is classical Glenn shunt and what is bidirectional Glenn? No?
Ma'am, in the case of classic Glenn shunt, ma'am, it used to be end-to-end anastomosis of the RPA to the SVC. Whereas in the case of bidirectional shunt, it is SVC is connected, end of the SVC is connected to the side of RPA, which is now being done. This is the bidirectional Glenn.
What is Kawashima shunt?
Kawashima shunt is done in the case of interrupted aortic arch, ma'am. And in interrupted IVC, sorry. Interrupted IVC, it is done.
With the bilateral SVC, it is bilateral bidirectional Glenn. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bilateral bidirectional Glenn.
Yes.
Then there is LSVC, left SVC with interrupted IVC and azygous continuation.
IVC, yeah. With azygous continuation.
Yeah. Okay. You ready with this?
Ma'am, ma'am, one second. I'll just share, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, I had one doubt.
Yeah.
Ma'am, regarding this heave in what is called as RV hypertrophy and in RV volume overload. Ma'am, some clinicians say that RV volume overload does not give heave. It should be called as parasternal lift. So are they both a different term or should we call it a single term only?
No, what is given in books is pulsation is, it will not lift your, you'll just see the pulsations. It doesn't persist for more than half of systole. Heave means it should persist for more than half of systole.
Okay, ma'am. Another question, ma'am, how to differentiate this high pressure and low pressure TR? Is just based on murmur that it's pansystolic and low pressure is early systolic. What other ways we can differentiate, ma'am?
There should be evidence of pulmonary hypertension.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that is most important. And there the murmur will be pansystolic, whereas low pressure TR will have early systolic murmur.
And low pressure TR will be found in which?
Organic tricuspid valve disease.
Okay, ma'am.
Like suppose there is rheumatic mitral valve involvement, you may get a organic tricuspid regurgitation. But more often it may be carcinoid disease.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Because the pressure difference between the RV and RA is less, you get a
low pressure.
Low pitch, early systolic.
Okay, ma'am.
It's not the high pitched.
And ma'am, low pressure PR will be in which condition, ma'am?
That is a good question. Low pressure PR you see whenever there is absent pulmonary valve.
Okay, ma'am.
Post TOF repair. Post pulmonary balloon valvotomy.
Yes, ma'am.
Then infective endocarditis of pulmonary valve. Sometimes carcinoid.
Okay, ma'am.
Invariably post balloon valvotomy you'll get some PR.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
And dysplastic pulmonary valve. You get PSPR both. ECG? Yeah. Okay, Radha, start reading ECG. Are you with us? Hello? Hello? Nikhil?
You're audible, ma'am. You're audible, but he is not.
She's not. She's lost.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yeah, I can hear you. But your ECG disappeared now.
He has the ECG.
Yes, ma'am. One second, ma'am. 1 second. Rather, you are there, no?
Yeah, I'm here. Yes.
It came, no? ECG, then it disappeared. So what do you expect in the ECG? Anybody can answer. Whoever is free.
Ma'am, ECG usually we expect right axis deviation, RBBB, or features of right ventricular hypertrophy.
RBBB is a universal finding after TOF repair. So how do you diagnose RVH in RBBB?
Ma'am, if there's RSR dash pattern, the second R will be very tall, ma'am. That indicates presence of RVH.
More than 11 mm, madam.
Seven mm in incomplete RBBV and 11 in complete RBBV.
Computer. Can you see the ECG, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's no 12 lead ECG, normal standardization, sinus rhythm. Axis is there's a right axis deviation. And there's 1, 2, 3, 2 to L. Ma'am, it's around 120, ma'am. To 150. Around 1.
Which is biphasic?
Ma'am, lead 2 looks biphasic, ma'am.
Perpendicular lead is?
AVL.
AVL is negative.
Yeah, AVL is negative.
Correct.
Ma'am, P wave looks normal. QRS duration of 150 milliseconds. There's a RSR dash pattern.
It is how do you diagnose RVH in RBBB, you said?
So there's an incomplete RBBV if the second R is more than 7 and it's more than 11 mm. If the height of R wave is more than 11 mm.
It is R dash in more than 10 millimeter incomplete RBBB and 15 millimeter incomplete RBBB.
10 and 50. Okay, ma'am.
7 is for RVH, right?
RVH, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So it's 10 and 15, Barker and Valencia criteria. Okay. So here RVH is there?
Yes, ma'am. It's around yeah, 25 mm, ma'am. The R dash.
In isolated PS, is there any way you can assess the RV pressure?
Yes, ma'am. The height of R wave multiplied by 5 gives us the RV systolic pressure.
In which patients? Which group? Between 2 to 20 years.
Okay. 2 to 20.
Yeah. Okay, there is right axis deviation, complete RBBB with there is RVH also.
Yes, ma'am, with RVH.
Is there a P wave is normal?
P looks normal, ma'am, in this. It's in lead V1, it's not very clearly made out actually P, but lead 2 P looks normal.
You expected some right atrial enlargement?
Because on percussion and also I expected right atrial enlargement. But
What
it's
are the
not
criteria for right atrial enlargement?
Ma'am, amplitude of P wave more than 2.5 mm, ma'am. Either lead 2 or V1.
How much?
2.5 mm.
2.5. I think in V1 it is 1.5. Any QRS criteria, you know? QRS criteria for right atrial enlargement.
Presence of Q wave in V1.
QR in V1. So QR in V1, what are the situations you get QR in V1? One is suprasystemic RV pressure, right atrial enlargement, and corrected transposition of blood vessels. Apart from infarction, of course.
Okay.
So right atrial enlargement, suprasystemic RV pressure, and corrected transposition. So here, is it QA or it is RSR dash?
It is RSR dash only, ma'am. There's a small R before that. It's RSR dash.
Okay. What about LV forces in the lateral leads?
No LV forces, ma'am.
Okay, there is no transition also. We want to.
No.
Okay, go to the X-ray.
Ma'am, will this sudden transition will disappear after surgery, ma'am?
I think so because of the right block it will change. There will be RBB, you know. It change. Okay.
Ma'am, I don't have X-ray, but then I just have the fluoro of PA cranial view, ma'am.
Okay.
I have not done X-ray for this patient. Can you see it, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is cardiomegaly, and the apex is RV configuration. Right atrial enlargement is present.
How do you diagnose right atrial enlargement on X-ray?
Ma'am, if the height, if at all the RA is extending more than 2.5 intercostal spaces vertically, ma'am, or more than 50% of the right heart border.
Mediastinal height.
Mediastinal.
Third of the right hemithorax.
Correct.
More than 1/3 of the
right hemithorax. Horizontally.
Yeah.
That's all is seen here. And then there's one picture. Okay, in this, there's a picture in the RV.
Which happens the pulmonary artery and vascularity in isolated PS?
Ma'am?
Pulmonary artery and pulmonary vascularity. In what happens in patient with pulmonary stenosis?
Ma'am, normally in isolated congenital PS and all, pulmonary vascularity is normal, ma'am. Pulmonary blood flow is also normal.
Why? Severe PS, what happened?
In severe PS, RV hypertrophies to compensate for it unless RV failure of
occurs, vascularity is normal.
Yes, vascularity is normal and RV fails or there is right to left shunt Which pulmonary artery dilates?
LPA dilates, ma'am.
Main pulmonary and left pulmonary.
Left pulmonary.
Left pulmonary more than the right pulmonary.
Right pulmonary.
Here you can't have echo?
Echo, I just have the echo report. I'll just read it, ma'am.
Yeah.
It's situs solitus, levocardia, concordant AV and VA concordance, intact interatrial septum, normal systemic and pulmonary venous drainage. There's a moderate, echo is basically moderate to severe residual pulmonary stenosis, P gradient of 58 mm Hg, ma'am. There's a moderate PR, good sized and confluent branch PAs, left side arch with normal branching pattern, good biventricular function.
P gradient 58,
by echo it was 58, ma'am.
When do you say it is mild, moderate, severe PS based on gradient?
Ma'am, severe PS if the P gradient is more than 64 mm Hg.
It fits into moderate PS, right?
Yeah, echo wise it's fitting into moderate. Yes, ma'am.
What about PR?
PR, there's moderate PR by echo, ma'am.
How do you assess PR as severity? When do you say it's severe PR by echo? Any criteria, you know?
I think
in post of
more than 25% regurgitant fraction.
How do you assess that?
Cases.
Actually, more than 40%, not 25. Regurgitant fraction more than 40%.
40%.
Okay, echocardiography. How do you assess PR? Anybody? Arun? Arun is there?
Yes.
We are
TR index.
discussing.
Yeah. TR index more than 0.7.
More than or less than?
Sorry, less than 0.6. 0.7. PR index less than 0.7. That is a PR duration divided by duration of diastole.
Okay. Then flow reversal.
And flow reversal in the pulmonary main pulmonary artery and branch pulmonary arteries. The flow reversal in branch pulmonary arteries is more specific, and flow reversal in main pulmonary artery is more sensitive.
Okay. Third.
PR index, this one then.
Color flow width.
Okay.
Ma'am?
Color flow width more than 50%.
Oh, color flow width more than 50%.
Yeah, regurgitant jet width more than 50% of the annulus. Then pressure half time less than
150.
100
100
milliseconds. Yeah.
100 milliseconds.
We have discussed now many times.
100 milliseconds.
Yeah, pressure half time less than 100 milliseconds. Color width more than 50%.
50%.
Yeah. ER index less than 0.77. And flow reversal in the it's somewhat similar to your aortic regurgitation.
Okay.
Okay. What was the gradient across the? Was it valvar stenosis or infundibular stenosis?
Ma'am, angiogram it's actually valvar, ma'am. Mild infundibular stenosis was there.
So what?
This
What
looks
surgery they have not done in this patient?
Ma'am, what?
What was not done in this patient?
They have not.
What they have not done?
They have not done a transannular patch.
Otherwise, they get a wide.
Yeah.
So PA, what was the gradient you said?
By echo, it was 58, ma'am.
Yeah, cath.
Cath actually, pre-procedure they didn't do a pullback, neither this thing. I didn't follow that.
RV pressure?
But RV pressure was 2/3 of systemic pressure, ma'am.
No. Okay. No. Can you calculate the gradient? Presume no PA pressure will be normal in this patient, I suppose.
Yeah.
What was the RV pressure? I don't know. It's okay. Okay. What was done again? Did they do valvotomy again or what?
They did valvotomy and they have done RVOT stenting, ma'am, for him.
RVOT stenting?
Yeah, because there was actually moderate PR. After valvotomy, there was free PR. So RVOT stenting was done with a plan of valve replacement PVR later.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why stenting was done.
Once they put a stent across the valve, then valve mechanism is gone. So they develop free PR.
Free PR.
Patient is better symptomatically.
Yes, ma'am. He's better. Like it's only done a week ago. So once he comes for follow-up, we have to see him again. How he is.
So next, what do you do? How do you assess PR? Before surgery replacement. What is important?
We'll do a cardiac MRI, ma'am, and we are supposed to see this all RV end-diastolic volume and systolic volume, QRS duration.
RV
end-diastolic volume. Yes, ma'am.
For surgery, what is the cutoff value about?
Above 150, ma'am. 150. End-diastolic volume index more than 150 ml, and then end-systolic volume more than 80 ml.
ml per
meter square. Yeah, indexed. Then RVEF less than 47, LVEF less than 55, duration of QRS more than 160, and if there's any presence of any RVOT aneurysm.
Okay.
This is what.
Has it shown to improve survival? Yes. Symptomatic improvement is
there.
Yes. Survival is not there.
Okay.
They need long-term follow-up. Yeah. Okay. Good presentation. Anything else?
This can be either surgical pulmonary valve replacement or transcatheter. Both can be considered.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, ma'am, even after stenting also we can go for surgical valve replacement, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, they do REOT stenting and then they do repair. They remove the stent and they repair the REOT.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ma'am, and what about JVP in these patients, ma'am? Usually it should be like how congenital PS we say very tall A wave and all. Like, are we expected to see such a wave in these people?
If severe PS, RVEDP is increased, then RA boost is required, no? Rate atrial contraction becomes powerful to do expect prominent A wave.
But here, I mean, is it because it's actually TOF physiology basically? So usually in TOF we do not usually see a tall A wave because RV is enough. It handles the pressure and then it doesn't require RA boost for that. So because already some basic this thing has changed. So even if they develop PS later, like this residual PS and all, so A wave won't be so prominent because of that.
Unless the RV pressure becomes suprasystemic, RV may not fail. No, the surgery was done quite early, so the RV function is preserved. And there is some residual PS. RV did not regress. So we can handle without the help of the medication.
Okay, so so A wave can be just seen. They need not be very prominent as we expect in PS normally.
Okay. Do you get any prominent A wave in TOF? Any situation?
Hoffman variant.
Then
restrictive variety.
Adult TOF.
Pulmonary
Adult TOF.
Adult TOF.
Yeah, when there is chronic hypoxia of the RV dysfunction can develop, and then they.
Or if there's a adult TOF.
Yeah.
AR, TOF with AR, ma'am.
Yeah, in adults you can get because of the prolonged hypoxia of RV ischemic. Yeah, hypertension. What are the causes of CCP elevation in TOF?
Ma'am, if RV dysfunction develops, RV failure.
It happens in adults again. That's what you're saying, no? Hypertension, AR, anemia, endocarditis. Those are the causes for RV failure. Children?
Ma'am, is PTA, TOF with PTA considered as a cause for prominent JVP, elevated JVP?
TOF with no.
PTA.
No. It goes to pulmonary, right? No, TOF PTA, no. Absent pulmonary valve, yes. They can have JVP.
Yes.
And TOF with the pulmonary atresia and extensive collaterals, they can develop right heart failure.
Ma'am, in TOF we usually see 3 types of collaterals, ma'am. That is bronchial collaterals, and then we have direct aortic collaterals, and then indirect systemic collaterals. So these direct collaterals usually develop during the 6th week of gestation. They basically anastomose with the pulmonary arteries, intrahilar. Then we have indirect collaterals coming from internal memory artery or subclavian artery. They form extra pulmonary anastomosis. Then we have bronchial collaterals.
See, all of them may not anastomose with the pulmonary artery. They go to the hilum and they accompany. 60% of them may
just accompany the pulmonary artery.
and they have arborization on their own, not join the pulmonary artery. So NAPTAs are classically seen in pulmonary atresia. Whereas other two types you can get in TOF. Especially bronchial collaterals are classically seen in TOF. So what will be the X-ray finding in such patients?
Ma'am, lacy pattern can be seen, ma'am. Patches of like hypovascularity and hypervascularity can be seen.
Okay, so